Ever wondered what Amish women really think behind those modest dresses and quiet smiles? They answer tourist questions politely, pose for photos at markets, and maintain the peaceful image outsiders expect. But some truths never get shared. 10 secrets about marriage, faith, freedom, and survival that Amish women guard carefully from the outside world. The reality of arranged marriages. Amish women publicly state they choose their own husbands, and technically this is true. No one forces them to marry specific men. But parents exert enormous pressure through suggestions about suitable matches, arranging for specific young men to drive daughters home from singing, and making opinions clear about unacceptable choices. The choice often becomes marry the man your father approves of or face years of family tension. A daughter who refuses a suitable match faces questions about her judgment and faith. The emotional cost of resisting is so high that most women comply while calling it their own choice. Age pressure intensifies starting at 18 or 19. By late 20s, they're considered virtually unmarriageable. This timeline creates urgency that overrides personal preference. Better to marry someone acceptable now than face permanent singleness. Domestic violence, hidden truth. Abuse in Amish marriages gets systematically covered up through church and family networks that protect men while blaming women. Church leaders' response typically focuses on what the wife did to provoke her husband and what she must change to restore peace. Church leaders operate under theological framework that husbands have authority over wives. The questions asked reveal the bias. What did you do to anger him? Are you submitting properly? The assumption is that abuse results from wives' failures. Women have no access to police or shelters without risking excommunication. Calling police means involving the English world in private matters, a serious violation. Most women have no education, no job skills, no money, and children to support, making escape practically impossible. Women stay because leaving means losing everything: children, family, community, identity. The system traps women in abusive marriages with no escape route that doesn't destroy their entire lives. Birth control usage. Despite official church prohibition, some Amish women secretly use birth control. After bearing 6, 7, 8 children with health deteriorating, some women make the forbidden choice to prevent further pregnancies. They visit English doctors in nearby towns, pay cash, and hide pills or devices. Secret doctor visits require elaborate planning. A woman might claim she's visiting a friend or selling eggs at a market when actually she's at a clinic. She might enlist a sympathetic English neighbor to drive her and keep the secret. Hiding pills requires constant vigilance. Pills get hidden in sewing supplies, canning equipment, or wrapped in fabric in closets. IUDs leave no physical evidence but require explaining medical appointments if discovered. Consequences, if discovered, range from severe church discipline to divorce. A husband discovering his wife used birth control can seek divorce with church support. The woman faces public confession and permanent reputation damage. Postpartum depression suffering. Postpartum depression affects Amish women at similar rates as other populations, but the community has no framework for understanding mental health issues. A woman struggling after giving birth is told to pray harder, trust God more, and stop being selfish. Women are expected to function normally immediately after giving birth. Within days, they're cooking, cleaning, and caring for other children. Admitting struggle suggests insufficient devotion. Women suffer silently rather than confirm suspicions about weak faith. Pray harder is the only solution offered. Church leaders respond with spiritual counsel rather than medical referral. Suggesting professional mental health treatment would imply that prayer isn't sufficient. Silent suffering after each birth becomes pattern. Women learn to hide symptoms, function through fog of depression, and wait for it to pass. Some experience postpartum depression after every birth for years, never receiving treatment. Financial control and hidden money. Many Amish women have no access to family money despite working as hard as husbands. farm income and financial decisions remain entirely under male control. Women who want money for household needs must ask and justify every purchase. Some women address this through secret saving. Women secretly save by skimming small amounts from household money, selling eggs or baked goods, and hiding proceeds. The amounts are usually small but accumulate over years into funds that provide security. Hiding money requires creativity. Cash gets hidden in hems of clothing, buried in gardens, stored in mason jars in basements, or kept with trusted friends. The hiding places must survive house cleaning and the scrutiny of husbands who might search. Planning escape funds is recognition that some marriages become unbearable. A woman with hidden money has options if abuse escalates. The money represents hope even if never used. Knowing it exists provides psychological survival. Doubts about faith. Some Amish women privately question religious teachings they're required to publicly affirm. Doubts about male authority, questions about why God would design such unequal systems, or skepticism about specific doctrines get buried deep because expressing them means risking everything. Women questioning religious teachings face impossible dilemma. The faith community is everything: family, friends, identity, purpose, security. Questioning core beliefs means potentially losing all of it. Most women suppress doubts rather than voice them, living with internal conflict between what they're taught to believe and what they actually think. Secret doubts never get voiced even to trusted friends, because any admission could lead to church discipline if reported. The community monitors for signs of wavering faith, and women expressing doubts become targets for intensive spiritual counseling designed to correct their thinking. The pressure to conform eliminates safe spaces for honest questioning. Fear of shunning for expressing uncertainty keeps women performing faith even when internal belief has crumbled. Shunning means family members limit contact, community members refuse to eat with you, and children grow up learning to avoid you. The social death of shunning terrifies women into maintaining appearance of devotion. Living double lives, mentally believing one thing while expressing another, creates exhausting cognitive dissonance. Women develop practiced responses to faith questions while harboring private skepticism. The performance becomes so habitual that distinguishing authentic belief from required performance becomes difficult. Envy of English women's freedom. Amish women watch English women with a mixture of judgment and longing. They're taught to pity English women's worldly choices, but privately, many envy the freedom, education, and options those choices represent. The envy must be carefully hidden because admitting it suggests dissatisfaction with God's plan. Watching English women with longing happens at markets, stores, and through observation of English neighbors. Women in their 20s who could have attended college working instead as teachers or nurses, women driving themselves places rather than depending on husbands for transportation, women making independent decisions about their own lives. These observations create yearning some Amish women struggle to suppress. Secret desires for education haunt women who enjoyed school and showed academic promise but had to stop at 8th grade. They wonder what they could have studied, what careers they might have pursued, what knowledge they might have gained. The wondering is pointless and must be hidden. Amish life doesn't include these options. Wishing for career options beyond wife and mother is heresy in communities that teach women's fulfillment comes solely through domesticity. But some women recognize they might have thrived in different roles: businesswomen, teachers, nurses, scientists. These alternative selves haunt them, especially during difficult moments when current roles feel suffocating. Jealousy, carefully hidden behind proper expressions of contentment, protects women from judgment while allowing private acknowledgement of loss. The jealousy isn't about rejecting Amish life entirely, but mourning roads not taken and choices never offered. Daughter preference over sons. Despite communities valuing sons for farm, labor, and family name continuation, many Amish mothers secretly prefer daughters. The reasons are practical, and emotional daughters provide lifelong emotional support, while sons transfer primary loyalty to wives after marriage. Women secretly prefer daughters because daughters understand female experiences in ways sons cannot. A daughter becomes confidant, helper, and eventually caregiver as mothers age. The bond between mothers and daughters often represents the most intimate and supportive relationship in women's lives, more so than marriages. Daughters serve as emotional support throughout women's lives. During difficult pregnancies, daughters help manage households. During marital problems, daughters listen with sympathy. During old age, daughters provide care and companionship. The support is mutual and enduring in ways relationships with sons often are not. Sons leave mothers for wives, transferring primary emotional loyalty and practical support to new families. Mothers who raise sons devotedly find themselves peripheral after marriage, visiting occasionally but no longer central to sons' lives. The shift creates profound loss that mothers feel but rarely discuss. The loneliness of raising only sons becomes apparent as they reach marriage age and mothers realize they'll be left with only husband for company. Women with daughters anticipate continued close relationships. Women with only sons face prospect of emotional isolation, infertility, shame, and blame. Women struggling with infertility face blame and shame that men never experience despite infertility affecting both genders equally. A childless couple is assumed to suffer from the wife's problem, and she bears full social consequences of the situation. Women get blamed for childlessness regardless of actual medical cause. The assumption is that conception is women's responsibility, so failure to conceive must be women's fault. Men rarely get questioned or tested, while women face constant inquiries about why they aren't pregnant. Secret medical tests with English doctors happen when women desperately want to understand fertility problems. The tests require money and transportation that women might not have easy access to. Results must be hidden because seeking medical help suggests lack of faith in God's timing. Hiding fertility treatments is nearly impossible given the monitoring and time involved, but some women attempt it. Taking fertility drugs requires precise timing and usually partner cooperation, making secrecy difficult. Treatments that require procedures or significant medical involvement become impossible to hide. Emotional toll of constant questions about children compounds the grief of infertility. Every gathering brings inquiries about when a baby is coming, suggestions about what might help, and barely veiled implications that childlessness represents divine judgment. The questions never stop, and women can't escape them without leaving the community entirely. Escape plans and fantasies. Some Amish women mentally plan leaving even when they probably never will. The planning provides a psychological escape valve. Knowing there's theoretically a way out makes staying tolerable. The plans might never be executed, but creating them offers a sense of agency in powerless situations. Women who mentally plan leaving know more about outside resources than they admit. Through overheard conversations, observations, and sometimes research during rare private moments, they learn about domestic violence shelters, job training programs, and organizations helping people leave insular communities. The knowledge stays carefully hidden. Contact with ex-Amish women happens more often than communities acknowledge. Some women maintain secret connections with former community members who left, asking questions about life outside and receiving information about resources and support. These contacts provide both information and hope that escape is possible. Why most never actually leave relates to impossible cost. Leaving means abandoning children who can't leave with you because fathers have custody rights and community backing. It means losing all family relationships and connections. It means facing outside world without education, job skills, or support network. The cost is so high that most women conclude staying is the only survivable option. Community consequences of honesty are severe and immediate. A woman who admits marital problems, voices doubts, or reveals community issues to outsiders faces social isolation at minimum, formal church discipline likely, and possible shunning in extreme cases. The cost of truth-telling is unbearable. Protecting family reputation takes precedence over personal honesty. A woman's words reflect on her husband, children, parents, and extended family. Speaking negatively about community or revealing problems brings shame on everyone connected to her. The obligation to protect family reputation outweighs personal need for honesty. Fear of shunning silences women who might otherwise seek help or speak truth. Shunning means losing access to children, parents, siblings, everyone. The prospect terrifies women into maintaining